President Joe Biden gets called out for his behavior toward a young black girl, which has been seen in a viral video. Donald Trump's wife, Melania Trump, drops bombshell news that has left everyone taken aback. More on that later in today's video. Now, Joe Biden's catty comments have left the ladies of the View talk show chattering like little schoolgirls. You got prominent Democrats coming out and admitting that voters have been voicing Biden's concerns for months now. Joe Biden gets caught in a lie during a Morning Joe interview on MSNBC and gets embarrassed when she gets called out. Now, before we even get started, guys, I just want to thank you guys so much for always supporting the channel. You guys are amazing. Thank you for hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and sharing these videos. It truly does help out a ton. All right, guys, so there's been a lot of talk about President Joe Biden ignoring this particular black girl who happened to be a Joe Biden supporter. And I've gotten so many requests from you guys in the comments basically saying, look, Joe Biden is a racist. There's been numerous publications from, 1980s, 1990s, back when Joe Biden was talking about segregation and this, that, and the other, how he allegedly was marching with the civil rights movement, or at least he claimed to have been, and then it was later found out that he really didn't.
Quote, more than once, advisors had gently reminded Mr. Biden of the problem with this formulation. He had not actually marched during the civil rights movement, and more than once, Mr. Biden assured them that he understood and kept telling the story anyway. That is really, really weird.
There is this viral video going around, and a lot of you guys have asked for my opinion on this one. So I just wanted to kind of share with you guys this clip where I think it's pretty much clear what's happening. I want you guys to let me know what you think is happening here, but let's go ahead and watch it together, and you guys tell me if you think Biden is just straight up rejecting this girl at this campaign rally, or if, it has nothing to do with, if you think that it has nothing to do with this girl being a black girl being ignored by Joe Biden, it's just, maybe just an oversight, or is Joe Biden racist? Let me know what you guys think, and then we'll talk about it. All right, watch this. All right, so here we got Joe Biden right here, taking pictures with, some regular folks here, white people, white dude here. Here's a white lady. Now, watch the black girl. He just kind of like overlooked her. She was really interested in, getting a shot with Joe Biden, and it's clear. Let's go back just a little bit. It's like, look at her again. Pay very, very close attention. Look at her face, right? She's happy. She's in the front. She's holding a Biden-Harris promotional sign here, right? So obviously she's a fan. She got in the front. She probably waited for God knows how long just to be able to get a front row seat and get a glimpse at Biden, right? Hopefully a selfie like everybody else, right? But look how much time he spends with his family here, right? And look how happy she was, right? Now, quickly, Biden's like, skip. Now, guys, look at her face. Look at her face. She's not even looking at the guy that she's been waiting to see all this time, right? This is the face of disappointment. This is the face of being rejected or ignored. But meanwhile, Joe Biden is showing love to everyone else here. Keep watching, because this is not the first time. This actually is not the only time it happens. This will happen more than once. Now watch this. He's taking pictures, right? He's taking pictures again, right? The girl is being completely ignored here. Watch. She's feeling uncomfortable. She's stepping away. But look, did you see that? Look, guys, look at her hand. She's like, but Joe, Mr. Biden, President Biden, look at her hand. She's like tapping him on the arm. Like, hey, what about me? Now look at this, guys. She's got her cell phone in her hand. She was trying to get a selfie with the president. The president is straight up ignoring her. I mean, this is just kind of jacked up. Now, come on, really? Cell phone in hand, hoping to get a shot with the president. It's not gonna happen. She's like, I might as well put my cell phone in my pocket. Maybe I can get into their photo. This is, I don't know, guys. Now, all right. So if I'm keeping it real, I think that Joe Biden may have just overlooked her, right? maybe he's looking at the girl like, all right, you know, she's what, 12, 13 years old, 11. I don't know how old she is. Maybe he's looking at her like, you know what, you're not old enough to vote yet. I don't really care. But I mean, what's your take on this? Now, do I think Joe Biden is a racist? Could be. I don't know. I don't really know the guy. But look at it like this. If Donald Trump did this, do you know how many news stations would be broadcasting this and going off on this particular scene, on this particular instance? So if Donald Trump's looking for the next viral ad, this might be this footage of Joe Biden disrespecting this black supporter actually caught on camera while all she wanted to do was get a selfie with him, could very well be Donald Trump's very next ad. Let me know what y'all think about that. And earlier today, on Monday, First Lady Joe Biden scolded reporters for screaming at her as she walked from a coffee shop to her car. Can you imagine this guy's wife, the First Lady, screaming at people while she walks from a coffee shop? So this happened when a reporter tried to ask her about President Joe possibly dropping out of the presidential race. Ooh, touchy. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that this was such a sensitive topic, Joe Biden, Dr. B. So in an interview shared by J.M. Rieger, who's a senior video journalist from the Washington Post, you could see the moment when Joe Biden was confronted by a reporter. The reporter asked about the increasing number of Democrats who want President Joe Biden to leave the race. The female reporter shouted, Dr. Biden, do you have any message to House Democrats who are calling for your husband to drop out of the race? How are you feeling about the state of the race? So Joe Biden, clearly frustrated by the loud questioning, responded, why are you screaming at me? You don't know me like that. Don't you scream at me. Let me talk. Okay. So this shows that Joe Biden was visibly upset with the reporter's tone and wanted to have a more respectful conversation. Okay, I got you. Also, when Melania Trump said she doesn't need to stand by Donald Trump like Jill, was this a dig from Melania Trump to Joe Biden? Melania, according to Donald Trump's biographer Michael Wolff, never wanted Donald Trump to run, and she became the most detached first lady in U.S. history. In 2016, when Donald Trump moved into the White House, Melania initially stayed behind. Melania will not be a whole-time first lady if Donald Trump returns to the White House this November. While this has created quite the flutter, since, this is quite an announcement that the first lady doesn't really want to be a full-time first lady or even want to stay in the White House the whole time, Melania's close associates said that Melania was just never a full-time first lady in the first place. Former White House press secretary and chief of staff Stephanie Grisham said in March that Melania Trump once said that she doesn't need to stand by Donald Trump like Joe Biden. Ooh, definitely a dig from Melania to Joe Biden. But if you think about Melania Trump, I'm pretty sure her lifestyle is so much nicer than what the White House can even offer. So maybe it's that. Maybe she doesn't want to be a part of the politics. Who knows? Why do you think Melania Trump wouldn't want to be a full-time first lady? You guys let me know. Melania, according to Donald Trump's biographer Michael Wolff, though, never wanted Donald Trump to run, and she became the most detached first lady in U.S. history. In 2016, when Donald Trump moved into the White House, Melania initially stayed behind in their New York Trump Tower apartment before finally heading to Washington in the summer of 2016. At that time, her excuse was that Barron was in school and needed to stay nearby. Now, this is what we're being told. I don't know if that's really an excuse. I think Melania is probably a really good mother. So it's just her being responsible and taking care of her son. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Earlier today, on Monday, Jason Miller, a senior advisor of the Donald Trump campaign, announced that former President Donald Trump is very close to selecting his running mate, his VP, for the upcoming election. So Miller mentioned that Donald Trump is narrowing down his VP choices and might actually make his final vice president decision as early as this week. Jason Miller jumped on the Fox News and Friends show earlier today saying it's almost an embarrassment of riches that there are so many good people, end quote, referring to the many different political candidates or potential candidates that Donald Trump is considering at this moment. He also added, quote, and what President Trump has said is that whoever he does pick for his VP needs to be able to step in and do the job on day one, end quote. So this means Donald Trump wants to choose somebody who is immediately ready for the responsibilities of a vice president, perhaps someone who has some experience. Miller also noted that Donald Trump has many great choices and that the final decision could be made anytime between now and the start of the Republican National Convention on July 15th. So yeah, when asked if special candidates like Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, Senator J.D. Vance from Ohio, or North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum were the most serious contenders for the running mate position, Jason Miller responded, quote, President Trump has discussed even more names than that. So I'm willing to think that, you got to see Senator Byron Donalds on the list at a minimum, right, guys? I mean, what do y'all think about Senator Byron Donalds? Let me know in the comments. Now, this indicates that Donald Trump is considering a wide range of candidates. Jason Miller also talked about the uncertainty of who Donald Trump and his running mate will be running against in an election. Now, he said, quote, what we don't know is who President Trump and his running mate will be running against, end quote. Miller referenced the ongoing discussions about President Joe Biden's ability to remain in the presidential race, adding, ultimately, with all the talk this morning about Joe Biden and whether or not he can hang on to the presidential spot, anything is possible at this point. But looking ahead, Miller did speculate about the potential vice presidential debates. He said, quote, I'm looking ahead as a campaign strategist to what the vice presidential debate looks like, end quote, pointing out the media's calls for President Joe Biden to withdraw from the race. He mentioned the uncertainty about who the Democratic vice presidential candidate might be, saying, we don't know if that's going to be Kamala Harris, or maybe they swap her out for somebody who's even more liberal than that, believe it or not, right? More extreme, although that might be tough to do. Now, this kind of highlights the speculation about Vice President Kamala Harris's role and the possibility of her being replaced by someone with even more liberal views. What do you guys think about that? Can you imagine? Can you name anybody who has more liberal views than Vice President Kamala Harris? Let me know in the comments, guys. Democratic strategist Jon Favreau, who previously worked at the White House under former President Barack Obama, he spoke out earlier today on Monday about concerns about voters regarding President Joe Biden. Favreau highlighted that these concerns have been evident in polls for months and are not just coming from elite sources as Biden claimed. Now, Favreau referred to a poll from the New York Times conducted before a recent debate that showed that 64% of all voters wanted Biden to be replaced as the Democratic candidate. Now, this included 48% of people who planned to vote for Biden. So Favreau emphasized that these concerns are widespread among different groups of voters. Specifically, the poll revealed that 55% of Hispanic voters and 66% of black voters wanted Joe Biden to withdraw from the race. Additionally, 69% of all voters agreed President Joe Biden is just too old to effectively serve as president. Wow. For Joe Biden to basically lose this is the majority of the Hispanic and black voter base. I think Joe Biden is pretty much done. What do y'all think? Let me know, guys. Favreau wrote that this is not an elite thing. This is not a media thing. This is not a one bad debate freaking thing. So he explained that these concerns have been voiced by voters for a very long time. Favreau concluded ultimately by saying, hey, the voters have been voicing these concerns for months now. Denying them or dismissing them is not the way to overcome them. And I would have to agree. But this is what we've been talking about forever, guys. CNN, MSNBC, all these left-leaning news stations for years have been trying to basically put a blanket over this problem that we've all observed of President Joe Biden's cognitive decline issues over the years. But now the lie the emperor has no clothes at the end of the day, right? And they were trying to convince us that he was dressed. The man was walking around naked, figuratively. So this means that Jon Favreau is urging the Democratic Party to take these concerns seriously and not to ignore or to dismiss what the voters are saying about President Joe Biden. So what do y'all think about this? Like, this is wild, guys, but it's only going to heat up. I can promise you that, guys. And I will keep you guys posted on everything that is going on. So if you haven't already, do hit the like button. I really do appreciate you guys' support. When you hit the like button, it just shares this video with more people so that they can discover it too. Also want to thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and for sharing the video. It's totally free. I really appreciate everything. I really appreciate you guys' support, and I'm gonna see you guys on the next one.